And it's some 25 minutes after 6. I mean, after 8, yeah. What am I talking about? 6 after 80 on ATL FM 100.5. That's appear that yet again, with the counseling center within the University of Cape Coast, another thought-provoking conversation. I have as my guest this morning to help us, Dr. Mrs. Rita Ajovieh, to help us with this particular conversation. The topic, Johari's Window, a tool for interpersonal growth. And I'm sure you're wondering, if you haven't read about it, you haven't studied it. Even if you have, there's a refresher for you. If you have not, there's a learning curve for you to be able to appreciate yourself. Good morning, Doc. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
You're looking beautiful this morning.
Thank you.
And so,
you're also
Mr.
looking good.
Thank you.
We are matching colors. We are both in some red.
Right, so people, this is the issue segment proudly brought to us by Salgin Medical Center. Your health just got better once you decide to associate yourself with Salgin Medical Center. So the Johari's Window, Dr. Mrs. Ajovieh, what is it about?
Okay, thank you. Let me say good morning to all our listeners, wherever you are. So yes, the Johari Window, it's a model. It's a model for communication, and it's meant to help us understand ourselves and also to understand others. The name Johari comes from the developers of the model, two American psychologists, Joseph Lafft and Harry Ingham. So they put their names together.
So Joe and her.
Yes, exactly. So that's how we have the Johari Window. And the Johari Window, it just refers to the windows of our lives. Just as we have windows in our homes, there are advantages of opening your windows as there are disadvantages of opening your windows. Like last night, the weather was really cold. If you open your window, you are likely to have more air, if only you can take it. If you close it, you feel warm. There are also advantages and disadvantages to closing the window. And it's just like our lives. We can choose to open up to others. There are advantages to that. There are also disadvantages to that. So the window talks about the fact that Johari Window says that we all have 4 windows. We have an open window, we have a hidden window, we have a blind window, and we have a dark window. And all these windows have something important for us to learn about ourselves and our interaction with others.
Now let's delve into the individual areas. You talked about the open window. What is it about?
Okay.
And what lessons do we derive from that?
Okay, so the open window is the part that you know about yourself and everybody knows. If you know me, I mean, once you introduce me, anybody listening to me knows my name is Rita, knows I'm the director of the counseling center. So it's about how much you know about people. I know myself, but what do you know about me? What you know about me creates our open window. So what is open between you and I may not be the same as what is open between myself and others. It depends on how much I have shared with others. Now, it's good if you are in an intimate relationship, for example, it's good to open up, to let your partner know more things about you, because it's going to help the relationship to get better. So the open window talks about all the things that you know about yourself and others know. It can be about your feelings, even how you react in different situations, the way you think about things, because when people get to know you, they can tell, oh, this person is usually suspicious of others, or this person is that, because they know you. Now it's up to us to decide on how big the window between us and others should be when we are talking about the open window. But I'm saying that it helps. It makes it's easy to trust others when people know more about you, because then they know what your likes and dislikes are, and they know how to treat you better.
What about the hidden window?
Okay, so the hidden window is hidden to others. You know it's about yourself, but others don't know. So this usually has to do with secrets that you have. It can also be your traits or some behaviors that you have, others don't have. For example, as I sit here, if I masturbate, and I don't tell another person, nobody knows. Okay, so it's about secrets that we have. Now, depending on the situation, it's good to share. It's good to tell the other person what some of your secrets are, just so they can relate better with you, they will treat you better. It reminds me of somebody I know from church. She has a hearing problem. She hears all right, but if you don't shout, she won't hear. So I was talking to her and didn't even know she was not hearing what I was saying. Up to a point, she said, Miraba, if you don't shout, I will not hear what you are saying. That was when I got to know that secret of hers. Before I knew she could hear, I didn't know she had a challenge. Now, knowing that she has a hearing problem, if I'm talking to her, I will shout, just so that she will hear me. That
will definitely boost the relationship.
It will boost the relationship, it makes the relationship better. But of course, it has its other side too. If you share with others, some people may not treat your information kindly. They may intimidate you with the information that you have given them. For example, with this same hearing problem, let's say I want to use that to intimidate her. I can stand at a public gathering when people are talking, I say, hey, please shout, shout, shout. That woman, that she cannot hear anything. When it's not that she cannot hear anything, but she cannot hear clearly if you do not shout. If I should tell you maybe something happening in my home, because I feel we are friends, and I'm telling you, oh, my father has been insulting my mother. I thought that I'm sharing with you, but who are you sharing with? For me, there is always that critical question to ask, because the hidden window, you are the only one who knows it. You can bring it into awareness if you share. And my issue always is that, who do you share with?
It matters.
Yes, it's very important, because you need to check who you are sharing with. I always tell people that if you couldn't keep your own information to yourself and you had to share it with others, it's much easier for them to share. So, and thankfully, we have professional counselors in UCC here. For us, we are bound by ethical codes to keep the issues confidential. So if you share with us, it remains safe. We won't go to lecture hall or to church or wherever to preach about your information. So my question is, who are you sharing with? Yes, that friend you are sharing with looks like a good friend, but she also has a best friend. That best friend also has a best friend. And in no time, something that you thought you were sharing as a secret to just one friend becomes public information. And everybody knows about it. And you can't go back and even tell the person, withdraw what I told you. It doesn't work. It's in my head. In any case, how do you know how many people have heard your information? So my caution always is that be careful about who you share with and how much you share with the people. Sometimes you can test people by giving them very little amount of information and see what they do with that information.
As little as something that if shared with other person may not harm you.
Exactly, something that is irrelevant, and see how that information goes around. That may be a caution.
That's a very good piece with life.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Exactly, and that can tell you about how to treat your very sensitive information. So yes, the blind window is about sharing, but let's share for a purpose. Let's share because I want to learn ABC, and so if I share with this particular person, he or she is going to teach me something.
Is it the hidden or the blind?
The hidden.
The hidden, yeah.
Because it's about what you alone know. But it's up to you to choose to share. And let me say that I'm not saying sharing is bad. Sharing is good. Because just like the window, if you open up, somebody will tell you something that's going to help you make your life better. I think it's one of the reasons why sometimes statistics say men commit suicide more than women.
We don't like to share.
You don't like to share. For a woman, she will share easily. And by the time she finishes sharing, 5 women have told her their own story. That is going to help, but a man will keep it within.
That is why women, of course, will attempt suicide, but they won't actually commit it because they will shout, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill myself, and then people come around and then pick the knife from them and all that.
Exactly.
Right, people, you're still tuned into ATL FM 100.5. This is the Atlantic Wave. We're on the issue segment on the Atlantic Wave, proudly brought to us by Celgene Medical Center. You can join the conversation. You have any questions? Just drop them 0275 14 49 49 0595 743866. Okay, so somebody's asking for contact right now. I mean, when we are ending the conversation, we'll share the contact. It looks like people want to get to you, Dr. and Mrs. Ajovie, because these issues. Let's look at the blind window.
Yes, so the blind window, just like the name goes, is blind to you. It's about what you don't know about yourself, but other people know about you. So you are blind to that. You don't know. So it says, I don't know. Others know about you. And this window, I say it's a barrier to self-awareness because you don't know about yourself. And others will have to tell you. For example, if you snore whilst you sleep, you wouldn't know. Whoever sleeps by you will have to tell, hey, you can snore too much.
Or your roommate.
Or your roommates, whoever is in that room or space with you. If sometimes even you are working as a man and your zip is open and you are not even aware, somebody will have to caution you and you have to close that thing. Or as a lady, maybe your button is open, you've eaten, you have enjoyed yourself, but some of the food is taken somewhere in your face. Sometimes Dr.
Mrs. Ajovie, this particular thing about your zip being open, that's a very funny way of people trying to call your attention to it. They tell you your office is opened and did you see the secretary or something? I mean, just
wow.
Way. I mean, just
I haven't heard this office and secretary one, so I've learned that now. Now when I see it, I'll tell the person your office is open.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the blind window is about what you don't know about yourself. Now it supports the popular Akan adage that says that the Ocha Kwaino because sometimes you are not aware of how your reaction is, your actions are affecting others, how you look or whatever, and people will have to tell you that you are not acting well, you are not behaving well, this is not going well with you. So the blind window requires feedback. You need feedback from other people.
From those who appreciate it.
Yes. People will have to observe you and tell you, give you feedback about what they think about your behavior, your attitudes, your personality, what and what. So it's important to look at what it takes to give feedback.
Exactly, and I am concerned about how the feedback has to be carved so that, I mean, what you want to achieve, you can achieve it. Because if you're giving feedback and you don't give it well, you give it in a particular tone, then you may not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. Is true. And so how should it be carved so that you can really inform change in that individual?
So I'll say that, I mean, we all should know that feedback can be positive or negative. So people may not always say things the way we want to say it. But let's say you have identified something about somebody's blind parts and you want to say it. It's important to, one thing is that be clear about what you want to say. What is it about the person? You don't go winding and not saying the information, because by the time you finish winding, people have stopped listening and they are no longer interested in the important information that you want to give. So be clear. What is it about the person's behavior that you want to communicate about? What do you want the person to work on? Now, I'll say that feedback should be offered and not forced on the person. So Judge, do you think the person is ready?
An explanation to
yes,
that.
It should be offered and not forced. Ask yourself, is the person ready? Look at the person's physical composure. Are they ready to receive the information? Emotionally, do they look like they are ready to receive the kind of information, feedback that you want to give to them? Because if I don't want the feedback and you force it on me, I may misinterpret even your motives for giving me the feedback, and because of that, I'll not even pay attention to what you are saying. So it's important that we don't force it on people. Now, feedback should focus on the behavior and not the person. The behavior. What did the person
Just
do?
like a pastor once said, you have to cast out the devil in the person, not the
Exactly,
individual.
not the
because,
person. Exactly. So you need to focus on, maybe the person shouted on you and you didn't like it. So say that I didn't like the way you shouted on me, rather than saying you are too difficult to deal with. Because when you say you are too difficult to deal with, now you are looking at me as a full person, not just what I did. But the feedback is about the shouting, not about me. Are you getting? So the feedback should focus on the behavior. What didn't the person do right? What have you seen? Maybe it's about the food sticking, or the person was snoring, and you want to say you snore too much, rather than saying you are terrible in bed.
Wow.
I mean, I cannot stand you when you are sleeping. What about me can't you stand? Focus on the behavior. Again, I'll say that feedback should deal with things that can be changed. It should deal with things that can be changed, not something that I cannot work with. For example, if you told me that you would understand me better if I use more simple words to communicate, it's better than saying my accent is irritating, because I can't change my accent. That's my accent. I can't change it. If you are giving me feedback about my accent, what do I do? That's my accent. Or you tell me my head is too big. So what do? I can't change my head.
Yeah, I mean,
but
if my head is big, I know. And there's
I
no,
can't
there's no way
change
you can
that.
undergo some remodeling.
No. So tell me what I can actually work on. Maybe the last point I'll add with giving feedback is that own the feedback. Use I statements. I think this. Not people are saying, who are the people? Or we think, sometimes we want to correct people and say, oh, everybody is saying that. Who is everybody? Tell me what you think about me. And that will be easier for me to take than when you tell me everybody thinks this way about me. We can also look at when you are receiving. I don't know.
I mean, it's a good thing about how, because you have to be receptive to the feedback that is coming, that will inure to your benefit or maybe unmake you.
Okay. Yeah, so let's say you are receiving, because it's about your blind part. People are now telling you about yourself. I'll say that listen carefully to the feelings that are being expressed. Don't be in a hurry to defend your behavior. Sometimes we are too quick to give reasons why we acted the way we did without listening to what the person is saying. But if we listened, we'll learn more from the person than being defensive in our action. Now, you have the right to say it's okay. When people are giving you feedback and you think it's becoming too emotional, you are getting bothered with what people are telling you, you have the right to say thank you, it's okay. Or it's okay, thank you, I'll work on it, or something, just so that you end it. Because there are people that when you don't create such barriers for them, they'll keep talking and talking, and by the time you realize they have bruised your ego, insulted your generations, and so on and so forth. So you need to now separate what is being said from how it is said. The how can be annoying, can be frustrating. In fact, you may not want it.
But there's always a substance.
But there is a substance there. So pay attention to what did the person say and not how. Don't mix the two. In your quiet moment, you can pay attention to what did the person say and not so much about how the person said it. Now, maybe the last one I'll add, because of our time, is that when you receive feedback, remember that different people react differently to different situations. So I may tell you are a terrible singer just because I don't like you. Maybe you're a good singer. So don't just take it from one person. Ask other people, what do you think about this and that? And if you are getting similar responses, it's time you sit down and work on yourself.
I've got a message here, Dr. Mrs. Ajovie, and says, good morning. I am Edem. I don't know if that rings a bell anyway. Good program. I would like to know if I do not know something about myself, which others know about me. The blind window is making reference to, in case I get to know this hitherto unknown secret about myself, which window does the secret move to?
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. I'm not sure which Edem it is, but it is the Edem I know. Hi, my husband. Yeah, so that's a good question. So once it's been revealed to you, now you know it. It's no longer blind to you. It moves to the open window between you and that person. It's not, and when you also reveal your secrets to others, it's no longer in the hidden window. It's now in the open window. So the open window gets bigger depending on how much interaction you have with others.
Now let's look at the dark window finally.
Yes, so the dark window is about the part about you, or the information about you that you don't know and nobody knows about you. So it's
you don't know,
and others also
the
don't
other
know.
People around you do not also know.
Yes, so you can also call it the unknown window. This has to do with talents that we have that we are not even aware of. It can do with traits or even illnesses, a fear. Sometimes you are not even aware you have a certain disease until you go to the hospital for a routine checkup, and then you find out this is what is bothering. But once I'm saying this, let me encourage all of us to check our health status.
Undergo routine
yes,
health
undergo
checks.
And to some people say if you don't know, it doesn't kill you, but it's not always true. If you know, you can take steps to be in better shape.
If you don't know, it won't kill you, but it will surprise you one day.
Exactly, that's very true. To surprise you, and at that time you may not be able to do anything about it. So this can also do with even feelings that you are not aware of. Sometimes you see people even get married and say their partners have changed, and sometimes I think it's not that the partner has changed, but the environment has changed. If things were fine, let's say life was good, you see a certain behavior in an individual. When life gets bad and things are difficult, you haven't experienced me in a difficult time. You are now going to see
the kind
me.
of people who will say I'm allergic to poverty.
Exactly. I'm just using this to say that we don't have to underestimate people and say they can never do it. You see, the fact that the situation hasn't come up, it means that we can't tell how the person will behave in such situation. And the dark window also encourages us to explore. We don't know if we can do it or not. Sometimes, even as students, you are asked to be a course rep, and you say, no, I haven't done it before. Yeah, you haven't done it before, but there is an opportunity to try. And if you tried it, you may realize that you are even much better, a better leader than the people you have been admiring
or
for
even
so long.
sometimes you don't know you can use the Kakum National Park canopy walkway. You have to try to know whether you have the fear of height and the likes.
That one is very true.
Let's look at the lessons finally that we're picking from the Johari window.
Okay. So I believe even as of now, we've all learned, we've picked some lessons about the four windows. I forgot to mention that the dark window requires revelation. You need to reveal. Things will have to be revealed to you through exploration or through self-discovery. So we are talking about lessons. One of the lessons, which I probably have mentioned, is that feedback is necessary. You need feedback to know yourself better. So be open to feedback. But just as I said, if you realize the feedback is going overboard, you have the right to say, thank you, I have heard you. Now also, as because of the hidden part, I'll say that as an individual, know when to stop sharing. You have been sharing your information with this person, and you realize that though you thought it was just between the two of you, later you learn that others know about that information. Advise yourself. Stop sharing with that person. So know when to stop sharing. Also, I'll say that yes, disclosure is good. Telling people about yourself is good, like I mentioned, but please, let's be careful about who we share our secrets with. Let's learn to respect our own privacy. Some information should stay with us. Some should go out in the open. For example, you meet somebody, you are in a relationship, you just started. It's a date, and then you are telling the person, oh, my parents know how to fight. My father will take the TV, hit my mother will take. It's too early to give that kind of information. That relationship may just end that day. And are you not bothered that information is going out in the open?
Let me just share a quick one.
Okay.
I attended a funeral over the weekend, and one of my grannies, we got lost in the middle of nowhere, and then we saw some guys. So we are going to so guest house, that place, we've been there, like we even left our bags there. And I was like, you just met these people, you're telling them you left your bags there. You want them to attack us?
That's a security thing, so we need to be careful about we need to respect our own privacy. Now, because of the dark window, I'll say that as a leader, as an employer, or whoever, allow people to try new things. Even like if I don't know how things work here, but sometimes you can do some reshuffling and let people try something new.
We do that quite a lot.
That's good.
During occasions, people come sit in here, they present, they do all manner of things. It's always fun, and
that's
you're able to unearth talents from
very good. Unearthing the talents is also fun, like you mentioned, and it makes some people even build their own self-esteem, because people think they're only good for something. But then through this experience, they learn that, I can also do this. And that makes them feel better about themselves. So provide opportunity for people to try new things. Don't, encourage self-discovery. And maybe my last 2 points, I've mentioned this already. Don't underestimate people. We've had cases where somebody says, I trusted him. He was my pastor. He's my prayer secretary. And yet he did this to me. He sexually violated me or something. Maybe the pastor didn't even think he had the capacity to do that. But when the environment presented itself, let me call it, the beast in him came out and he did it. So don't think that you are too safe with people. Always be on the alert. And my last point is practice self-control. When you are giving feedback to people, you don't always have to say everything. Sometimes keep quiet.
Thank you. So somebody asked for a contact for some psychological counseling, if there is any contact. So people, we are wrapping up the conversation. My guest has been Dr. Mrs. Rita Ajovieh, the director for the Counseling Center here in your University of Competitive Choice. And thank you for the message. I know this will go on for a long time. Yes, take contact.
Okay, so let me give the office contact. That's 031 229 9381. 031 229 9381. Anytime you call, you can have access to us.
Dr. Mrs. Ajovieh, thank you for your time this morning. We're grateful. And I'm sure we've all picked our cues. I have learnt a lot, and I know our listeners have. And everybody in the studio, I see everybody nodding their head, and that's a great one. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. People, this has been the issue segment on the Atlantic Way, proudly brought to us by Southern Medical Center. Up next, as the Newspec segment, I will pay some compliments to our sponsors. Stay with us.